Hello, everybody. It's Ron over at Becoming Enlightened Together. So here for yet another daily read. We're doing runes this time. I might do tarot after this. We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So the overall weekly energy we pulled on Sunday for the whole week is Yara in the upright. Now it's a good rune. So it talks about harvests and seasons, basically manifesting the fruits of your labor and so on. It talks about rewards, peace, commitment, time of rest. It talks about happiness, prosperity, everything happening in its own time. Okay, so if things haven't happened for you yet, just be patient. They will when it's meant to happen for you. But that's basically what this is saying. Our good karma is coming in. Okay. Now, as far as the past energy, the energy I pulled for today, Thursday, on Sunday, is Degas. And Degas 2 is also in the upright. Okay. Now, Degas in the upright talks about day, dawn, daylight clarity versus nighttime obscurity. It talks about ambition and breakthroughs in stagnation, breakthroughs in growth. It talks about the power of change directed specifically by your own will. So if you are meaning to change some things in your life, it's saying that now is the time to do it. Okay. Talks about a time to embark on a new enterprise or venture. Uh, Talks about, again, balance. That's what Degas actually means. If you see it, it looks like an hourglass, so to speak, but it's on its side. So where those two triangles come together, that is the point where yin and yang, or, black and white, balance, reciprocity. That's where those two differing points come together. It's kind of what it's more or less talking about. So balance is a big part of it. Certainty is also a big part of it. Again, like I said, the place where opposites meet, security. So, maybe somebody in your life, like a counterpart of some type, whether it's a friend, family member, or your, wife, husband, your future spouse, who knows, okay? But maybe you guys are quite different. But just like in everything, they say that opposites attract, and that's true. But to try to maintain a relationship, with those types of opposite characteristics, traits, attributes, and all that kind of stuff is a little bit more difficult. Because it's something new, it's something different. Yes, it draws you in. It's like magnetic attraction, so to speak, the opposites, the polarities, coming together. Maintaining it takes work, and that's kind of what this is also talking about. So the present energy is Gibo, and Gibo 2 is in the upright, and it's like X marks the spot on a treasure map, I always say, because that's really the way it is. It's a very positive rune. So it talks about gifts, gifting, again, balance. So balance and reciprocity is the moral of this particular daily read. So remember, giving and receiving. Every relationship has got to have some form of reciprocity in it. It doesn't mean that every day I give 50%, you give 50%. No, sometimes it's more like 90-10. But as long as it's not like that every day. Some days we're just having some difficulties or whatever, and we need that extra support from our spouse, our love, or whatever the case may be, our friends, whomever. So, but if you are in the process of always giving to somebody and never really getting much back, there's no balance, there's no reciprocity, that's a vampiristic relationship. And yes, there are energetic vampires that exist in this lifetime. There truly are. And it's probably where that myth actually came from. Although there is a lot of reason to believe that there are literal, I'm talking about blood drinking, vampiristic, groups, maybe even entire families that are documented in this world. And some of them are very, very, let's just say, very powerful families. Okay, Now, I have no way of proving that, of course. I have only the stories that have been, passed down, sometimes generationally, sometimes more recent, and so on. But looking at so many other things that seem to tie together with that, I can definitely see and believe that that is a reality in our world. In fact, many of the things that we think are only myth or entertainment in some way turn out to be more true than not. So I'll just leave that as it is so I don't get too far off the beaten track. Now, as far as our obstacles and challenges, we have another powerful one, but this time it's in the reverse, algis. Now, algis typically is associated with, things such as defense and protection and so on. In the reverse, it talks about someone who's being used by other people, somebody who's in a transitional phase. Somebody's constantly waiting, I don't know, for the ships to come in or for something to change in their life instead of making it happen. So somebody who misleads other people or is being misled. Somebody who's very vulnerable at this point. So there's hidden dangers also present. Somebody who may in fact actually be being consumed by divine forces. Somebody who's literally just withering away without much of an explanation in some cases. Sometimes it's their addictions that end up, leading to such things. So also it's a loss of the divine link because of your taboos, which is also part of this, and the many warnings that you've been getting, and the fact that you literally have turned away from the messages that you are being given from your ancestors, from the Most High, and so on and so forth. Maybe even people in the three-dimensional plane of existence, your friends, if you have any, and a lot of people have a lot of people around them, but they're not necessarily your friends in the classical sense of what that means. They're there to maybe use you in some ways, or to get whatever it is that you can provide them, whether it's just fun and excitement, whether it's sexual, whether it's financial. It's different for everybody, of course, but those people are also vampiristic. And they're more of the materialistic vampirism, but they exist as well. And it's not exactly a guessing game. You know who they are if you're willing to see things for what they are versus what you want, to see. And sometimes the people that are most, fun to hang out with and all that kind of stuff are the ones you can least trust in a pinch. They're the ones that are probably talking behind your back about you specifically. The ones, smiling the most, buddy the most. And I'm not trying to make you paranoid or anything like that, but use your intuition, okay? Because things are rarely, from my personal experience, what they outwardly appear to be. People wear masks. In fact, most people wear masks. Few people there are who are brave enough to be who they really are, to be authentic, and to put it out there, whether you like it or not. And you'll know who those people are because they're very honest, to a fault. I don't mean untactfully so, pointing out all your discrepancies. I mean, they stand firm in their convictions. They can be kind in everything else, and they should be kind. But you'll know who those people are that I think instinctually you feel you can trust, and those who you're probably better off keeping some distance from. And certainly not giving them, your deepest, darkest secrets and things of that nature. You share those for the people closest to you, or person closest to you. Now, in terms of our help and advice, what we have is Nauthis. Now, Nauthis is also in the reverse. Looks like a cross with the horizontal beam being slightly canted, as you can see. Okay, it's the letter N in their alphabet. And basically, it talks about wrong directions, going the wrong direction when it's in the reversal. It talks about somebody who's possessive, somebody in distress, somebody who will literally keep other people, bound in some way, whether it's verbally, emotionally, or even physically in some cases. Or maybe they themselves are being restrained. I mean, take it how it, resonates with you. It's going to be different for everybody. But somebody who's going through, drudgery and toil, their needs and necessities are not being met. So they're experiencing perhaps great want and deprivation, maybe even starvation, because that's actually one of the descriptors for this particular rune in the reverse. Poverty, but it also speaks of emotional hunger. Maybe your emotional needs are not being met. You have to make a change. The universe indeed favors the bold, the courageous, and sometimes you make up these walls in your head that you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't get away, but you can't. You're just making every excuse not to. And I know this from experience too. Sometimes the greatest prisons are the ones without the bars. And that's exactly the status of the world as a whole, the way I see it. We're all basically in this this great concentration camp of Earth. We basically bow down and fight every 4 years, especially in America, who's going to rule over us the next 4 years. And the land is presumably the land of the free. It's anything but free. And it doesn't take much, to figure that out, to prove that to yourself, if you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and so on, and a brain that works. Okay? I mean, what those people, a couple hundred years ago, who rose up and fought against tyranny, presumably, there was far less tyranny than there is in this land today. And that's just a simple fact. They had 2% raise in taxes, and they fought a revolutionary war. They tried to take their guns away. They fought a revolutionary war. And remember now, they were fighting against the superpower of their day, which was, of course, Great Britain, England. So, and we're talking about a bunch of farmers. And yet, they were able to throw off the shackles, again, presumably, because there's a lot to this history that is beyond the scope of this reading right here, right now. And unfortunately, what they teach us in school is far from accurate. Okay, I mean, documents exist to prove what I'm alluding to, but I'm not going to get into that right here, right now. I would definitely like to talk about these subjects, but again, it's not what the nature of this reading is about. It's about you out there as a collective, and some of the things that you're trying to understand that are happening in your life or with people in your life, and so on, or you may be experiencing very, very soon. So it gives you a little heads up. Now, in terms of our future, we have Ewas. Now, Ewas is in the upright, and basically, actually, it's in the reverse. Even though I have the arrow facing in the upright in this particular case, it's actually in the reverse. So what this means is long journeys, okay? Instead of, blessed journey and, travel and things like that. It does talk about long journeys. It's not a bad rune in the reverse, however. Ordinarily, some of them very much are. There are some attributes attributed to this in the reverse that aren't good, such as disharmony and betrayal. So, again, talking about those people that we call friends, family, and loved ones in our life. If they are not giving the reciprocity, that is a telltale sign that that is an imbalanced relationship. And if you've already tried to fix it and to no avail, then it's time to leave those relationships, no matter what they are. And you have every right to do so. In fact, you are definitely encouraged to do so, because otherwise they are literally siphoning your energy, whether you are aware of it or not, or even understand it or not. It's a truth. And they may not even consciously understand it, but at the higher levels, the higher realms, they do. So, now, it talks about sudden changes and basically the desire for change in your life. Maybe things are not going the way that you want, like I just alluded to, and you feel that you want things to change. You have to make the steps for that to happen. They're not just going to happen on their own. Okay? That's not the way the universe works. You want something, you make a movement in that direction. You state your intention and everything else, and you make a move in that direction, no matter how small it is. The universe is going to meet you halfway. It will. Everything in this universe is about balance. No matter what anybody else says, I'm absolutely convinced of it now. Everything that I can see, from the largest to the smallest, as above, so below, and so on and so forth. Everything points to that in the religious texts, the esoteric and occultic texts. Everything I see and that I'm aware of in terms of science, everything points to that. So I believe that to be an absolute universal truth. So that's basically what we too are supposed to strive for: balance in all things, in our relationships, in everything that we accept and do and practice and perform. Everything should be done in balance. Okay, and anything that is imbalanced is something that we may actually label as maybe being sin or something of that nature, because we are not corresponding energetically in a balanced fashion. So our energy is either being siphoned away or whatever the case may be, or we're giving it away to things that are very, very non-beneficial to us and our longevity, and of course our journey as souls. So it talks about feeling restless, mistrust, disharmony, and betrayal. These are all things that are talking about, in terms of our future. And our future is, anything after these words have been uttered to you, to, whenever. So, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody depending on when you actually view this, whether it's actually on Thursday, the 5th of February 2026, or it's 20 years from now. Whenever you stumble upon this, that's when you are meant to see this, because time is not linear. And again, it's all scientific. You got many realities happening simultaneously right now, right around us. And I know it's hard to understand and conceptualize, but again, if you look at things such as quantum physics and all the latest and the greatest, revelations that we're coming to understand and so on, the matrix, if you will, and you match that up with, the ancient texts, especially the Hindu text, I'm finding so much about that talks about so much of what's happening that we're finally starting to understand. But it's not just the Hindu texts. I mean, a lot of that's also uttered in Judeo-Christian texts, and and many other religious belief systems throughout the world, indigenous beliefs as well. So, and again, that's a whole other subject. I could talk about it. I love to talk about these subjects, but that's not why you're here. So I will spare you all of that for now until I get, into a more formalized forum, in terms of specific subjects I wish to address and everything else. And I'll do that in a more professional way. Again, I'm still in the process of rebuilding myself after being homeless for quite some time. So I had my many more days than my 40 days and nights in the wilderness. And I'm rebuilding myself very slowly, but I am making progress. So, and I even started this website when I was actually out there being homeless. I had my laptop with me, and I went for it. I didn't give in to feeling sorry for myself. At least most days. Some days I did. I admit it. And there's no shame in my game in terms of admitting those kinds of things, because I want to be a benefit to others. And having experienced these things, now I can relate more to certain other groups of people that I could only conceptualize in my mind. Yeah, I can feel empathy for, but to live these things and to experience and to meet certain people during those experiences has really opened up my eyes to many, many other things. And this is why I'm doing this. It's not because I'm going to gain any fame from this. I hardly have any viewers, and I'm not making a cent doing it. I'm doing this on my own accord, my own time, my own efforts, and to try to give back to the collective, reciprocity. And again, that particular thing is even found in the Norse belief systems. They really believe that even in terms of abundance, if you want abundance to continue to come into your life, you have to make it flow. You have to put it back out into circulation to give to others, to help, to benefit, to, just to be a help, collectively speaking, and not a hindrance or a cancer upon, this planet and its many other inhabitants. So I'm all about nature and all of that kind of stuff too. And this is why, I more and more becoming closer attuned to the shamanistic aspects of my ancient heritage and everything else. And again, I have heritage literally from all over, everything basically west of Russia and China, everything. A lot of Italian and Greek, Spanish, fucking, you name it, I've got it. But mostly I have, German and Scottish, as well as Swedish, Norwegian, Irish. I got it all, baby. Because my ancestors were on those longboats and they were all over the damn place. So they got around. And this is why I'm really embracing, the Nordic heritage that I have. Although I may only have a small percentage of Norwegian, a small percentage of, Swedish, Norwegian, so on and so forth, and a lot of German. That I also have the Scottish and the Irish and the English and so on, everywhere else that they were basically at. Plus I have the Greek side and the Roman side, and it goes, as far as Turkey and so on and so forth. So who knows? I mean, I got a lot of very ancient blood flowing through me, and I know that I have some shamanistic ancestors, and I work with them primarily, in trying to, regain and relearn in this lifetime the things that I may have done many, many times in previous lives. Now, I have a long ways to go, but the more that I look at things, the more I realize there's nothing that we are not capable of doing in this world. And I encourage you all to really start thinking that way as well, and just open up the vista of possibility in your own personal lives. And again, if you ever need anybody to talk to, I'm a good listener. I won't run my mouth constantly unless you have a question or something like that. So I can speak, but I can also listen. So, and that's all I got for today, you guys. So, as always, stay victorious out there. Hang in there. This is good personal energy that we got going on for today. And the closer we get to the end of this cycle, the more it, consistently it puts out more and more and more positive energy, more powerful energy. So no matter how many hurdles, no matter how many obstacles that come before us, and they will always, from this day to your last day, you're always going to have, things that you're going to have to get through. But it becomes easier to get over these hurdles, after you've gone through it once or twice. You build scar tissue, so to speak, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. And it's much, much harder to damage that area of your life, your psyche, your well-being, and so on. As a direct result of that, you become, better capable of handling whatever life throws at you. That doesn't mean it's easy, okay? So I'm not, looking at rainbows and unicorns and all that. Believe me, I know what the other side looks like, and I've lived it, and I've gotten through it, So I don't want to get my resume.